everybody. Welcome. It's Thursday night, March 3rd of 2022. And you're here with us at Guitar Town Hall with David NESDALL. And as always, my faithful co-host, Mr. Ben Coombs. How you doing, Ben?
Not too shabby, Dave. You know, I've been looking forward to this for a while now. Get to talk vintage gear with somebody else who knows as much as you, Dave, and then some, I'm going to say.
More than I know.
And definitely more than me. Although I like to think I know a fair amount, and then I meet somebody and I went, oh, did not know that. Perfect. And I'm looking for that a lot tonight, Dave. So I want to welcome Paige Davidson. I'm going to say Chief Bottle Washer because willing to appear on camera with us tonight. Paige Davidson, Well Strung Guitars in Long Island, New York, I want to say.
Yeah. Hey, Paige.
Hey, guys.
Dave never tells me the exact location because
all right, it's Farmingdale. It's 330 Conklin Avenue in Farmingdale.
Beautiful.
Yes, that's us.
I just don't know this. I don't know the zip code. Sorry.
That's okay.
I'll fill you in.
It's still quite the drive for me, but I'm looking forward to whenever I get to meet Dave in person. We're headed over to Well Strung Guitars that day. I'm saying that much.
Oh, yes.
Huge fan of your guitar shop for quite a while, I will say. So welcome.
Thank you. Thank you guys so much for having me. It's lovely to be here.
It's awesome to have you here. I've been looking forward to this. Actually, Ben and I have been looking forward to this since I thought of it. I was like, you know what? I got David on. It's time to get Paige on. And you and I kind of like, we talked about it, but not really. And then I was like, well, listen, I got some dates. Here's the dates. And we decided on it. It was great.
No, this is perfect. And, I know when we had been talking about it, we were in the old store and, then we had this big move come up and now we're in the Mecca. So why not do it here?
Awesome.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I'm going to get to the lovely folks in the chat here, Dave. Roll call, as I like to call it. And I'm seeing, it's just tick, 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 just going off. We've got, fellow Long Islander, Joe Hervey, 84 in the chat. Octopus Ears, he's on the opposite side of the country. New name, but familiar, lovely face in the chat. Desi Nezzy. I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Sounds like a cartoon character. Desi Nezzy. Yeah, I know it. Yeah, awesome. John Harden's here. House of Twang. Awesome. Fellow Canuck. T. Ricky is here. Thomas Santiago out of Buffalo, New York. Oh, that just rolled right off. Perfect. Randy Crooks, he's in Iowa. Tim Thomas, parts unknown, because he doesn't share. Caitlin, NEC 425 says, go Paige.
Hello.
Awesome. Mark Effects. Terry's 3Gs, our faithful moderator, along with Desi Nezzy. Brett Casella is here. Guitar Man 45. Unbelievable. Keep it clean for the first while, anyhow. Let's see who else we have here. Billy Baloney is here. Awesome.
Cushman, New York City.
Cushman, NYC. Muddy Waters. Papa Blue. Mark Robinson. Dan of New Jersey.
They just keep coming.
Popping up.
Yep.
Yeah. Wow, quite the crowd already, Dave.
Nice. Yeah, it's not bad. Not bad. 21 pairs of eyes looking at us. And we'll say hello to more people as they show up.
Yep.
So Paige, how you doing?
I'm doing great. I've been looking forward to this for quite some time. So it's really nice to finally be settling in. And, this isn't something I do every day. So I'm looking forward to, chatting guitars, having a good time, relaxing a little bit.
Yeah.
What a better way to spend my Thursday night, right?
Exactly.
I see no better way.
So I'm going to start this off by saying, tell us what you do there at Well Strung Guitars.
Well, that's a loaded question. Because as a co-owner of Well Strung Guitars with my partner, David, you kind of do a little bit of everything. So whether that's literally sweeping the floors or taking care of social media or doing live interviews or writing up a whole inventory system or redesigning the website, you're doing it. So like I said, a little bit of a loaded question. But yeah, I'm the co-owner of Well Strung Guitars. I have been since 2018. So it's been a short ride, but a long ride at the same time.
All I can say is I'm usually there once a week. Yes. And if I get a chance to see you at all, it's for 30 seconds because you are zipping around the store like a chicken without a head, and
That
you're
sounds about
always
right.
doing something. You're always doing like this, like the job of 20 people. It's crazy.
It's a blessing and a curse when you do this. For sure.
So let me ask, how did this get started? At what age did you, first of all, at what age did you discover music? At what age did you discover guitar? Tell us a little bit of your humble beginnings.
Happy to. So music was always something that was a part of my life, whether it was playing in the car and we were singing at full blast, my brother and I in the car with my parents, or, in school, I was in choir and band for a whole millisecond because I got kicked out, but that's a story for a later time. I played the flute. It was tragic. And then I guess I was around 12 or 13 when I picked up a guitar for the first time, maybe a little bit younger in a playful way, but in a really serious way. I picked it up around 12 or 13. Yeah. Unfortunately, I never really mastered the craft, which probably isn't a very popular thing to say in this setting. However,
no. I've been doing it for 30 years, and one of these years I'll get it right. No.
I appreciate you saying that, Ben. Yeah, it was one of those things that I always loved it, but I just never, I don't know, you're young, you get into other things, you're being pulled in a million directions.
Sure.
And so it wasn't until I was probably 22 or 23, the Songbirds Guitar Museum had opened in Chattanooga, Tennessee, and my business partner and dad, David, had been involved in the curation and the procurement of that collection. And they were looking for a social media director. And I said, I don't know how to do much, but I know how to use Instagram. And it was my kind of like foot in the door, as in a way, back into this world. And so I started to surround myself. And because that was a really small group putting that together, as far as the build out was concerned, I found myself immersed in the history of these instruments in a way that I never had been before. So while I was around vintage guitars my whole life and tripping over them in my living room when they would come home with my dad from work, or when I would go to visit him at his old store, it was a very different environment for me on a personal level, being, writing up the history in the showcases and talking about them on social media and really having to learn it myself for the very first time. And then maybe a year or two after the museum opened, we parted ways and David's business partner retired. And he was like, is this something that you'd maybe want to consider for yourself on a real level? And I said, you know what? Maybe it is. And we started to get into real serious conversations about it. And now 2 stores later, we've amassed about a 600 guitar collection in our store. So
wow,
that's
a serious inventory.
That's a sped up version. I could tell you little, tidbits here and there, but it's been a really incredible ride to get here.
Yeah, I'm just that number of inventory, because I'm thinking, how many guitar shops, period, have that much volume in inventory, and even some student center that's just turning out the $100 guitar-shaped objects more than anything else. But that's impressive.
The beauty of what we do is that, with the exception of a few, we really are 100% vintage, and it's an honor to be able to pass these stories on. I mean, I feel more like a historian of these items, more so, than such a talented player.
Well, they all have character. They all have like a mojo to them. I get it. I always know when I pick up a real vintage guitar as opposed to a custom shop version of a vintage, there's just something about it.
It has a story to tell.
It's transient. Yeah, you can feel it without looking at the tag to know what's what. It's just like, I think this is actually an old thing. Okay, yeah.
That's part of the charm of having a vintage guitar is the stories behind it. You have that somewhat with real good new guitars, somewhat, but there's always crazy stories behind, like Big Ed, that Explorer.
Yeah.
The story behind that guitar is insane. it's just an amazing story and also an amazing guitar. So
I was very fortunate to have been able to see that guitar in person, hold it in my hands, and before it went to its forever home. So
yeah,
that was an incredible piece of history to pass through.
Yeah, those of you who don't know what Big Ed is or who Big Ed is, it was a 1958 Carina Gibson Explorer that was super well played. One owner, correct?
Yes.
One owner. The guitar, when I held it in my hands, I didn't even plug it into an amplifier. I held it in my hands for maybe 5 minutes, and the hairs on my arms stood up, and the hair on my back stood up. It was a religious experience. I mean, I've played bursts in that store. I've played 54 Strats. I've played Blackguard Tellys, and they're all great. They're all amazing guitars. But when I held this guitar and strummed a big G chord on that guitar, it was like an outer body experience holding that guitar. I've even played some Flying V's, some Carina Flying V's there. And there's no shortage of those in that store either. So go check them out. But anyway, it was a religious experience. And then to watch Joe Bonamassa 3 feet in front of me playing it was another religious experience. And by the way, I got to thank you and David for allowing me and Desiree to come in and watch that. But the things that happen in that store are so magical. You don't get it. First of all, you don't get the red carpet treatment. You could be just some Joe Schmo walking off the street with half a brain. You walk in, you ring the doorbell, they greet you at the door, they take your jacket, they offer you a bottle of water. You sit on these beautiful couches. You don't necessarily get to pull guitars down yourself, but if you ask them to show you a guitar, they will put a $500,000
I hate getting guitars down at guitar shops, especially when they got them all wedged in, like Paige has them there. I don't like that. No, nope.
It's not fun. I can't imagine that if you're not someone who's doing that every day, that's
fun. Like you're trying to ease it out. Like I'll go into a guitar shop to shoot a bunch of demos one day, and it's just like, all right, see that one there? Yeah, you're getting that one down. Why? Because you have it so well hidden in between the other guitars that I'm not about to relic 3 guitars to shoot one demo. And they're like,
probably a pretty good rule of thumb.
Yeah, it's okay, but
I'm just saying that the store, the staff that's in that store are top notch, and they treat everyone as if you were Joe Bonamassa, no matter who you are.
I'm genuinely grateful that you say that, because that's definitely something that we strive to achieve. There's being a customer or just any random person, myself, to another store, walking in off the street, and you can walk around for 10-15 minutes sometimes with not a bat of an eyelash in your direction. So that was something that when David and I sat down and we talked about, we wanted to be an elevated experience. You're holding stuff and seeing things that are upper echelon, incredible instruments, and so
and unattainable to the normal person. Yeah.
I just think that it's.
We have a question in the chat, Dave. Bozique, he had asked. He goes, so this is a good question. How old does it have to be considered vintage? Is it 50s, 60s, 70s and older, or is it stuff from the 80s, 90s technically vintage now? Paige, I thought this would be a great question because personally, I use the 30-year rule. That's what I was taught.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I definitely think that's something that people ask me all the time. Like, when is my, late 80s pointy guitar going to be on your walls? And that day will come. It's just not today. I think, to me, when I think about a piece that really, when someone walks into my store and they want to sell me something, an ideal piece is between 1950 and the early to mid 1970s. And that early to mid 1970s, that's new for being considered vintage. Like, that's in the last 5 to 8 years, I guess I'd say, is when people would start to go like, okay, I guess I'll buy that 70s, you know, whatever it is. And, you know, and that'll continue to change. And eventually the stuff from the 50s is going to be just a straight up antique. You know, it's like at a certain point.
Because technically you'd be describing antique guitars by technical standards, but it's funny because vintage guitars, like I remember not long before I got into playing, or Dave would get, though there was no such thing as vintage guitars, they were just old guitars.
Yeah,
and then all of a sudden, it was basically pre-CBS. That was the year, regardless of manufacturer, we're going to use that year as vintage versus, you know, they're okay.
Yeah, in like 65. So.
And it's amazing how, you know, the goalposts change in a sense. Like, I remember hanging out in guitar shops as a kid with my dad, and like I would be embarrassed if I had the Japanese version of something, because this would be the 80s, whereas my dad was embarrassed because he had a CBS telly and not a pre-CBS telly. And I'm just like, really?
That not just the funny. Everybody has their thing, man. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I know.
He's like, it's not pre-CBS. I was like, so? It's still 20 years old.
Totally.
Yeah, at that time, you know.
I have so many things that are of CBS era in my store because they're, in a lot of ways, I mean, granted, over the last few years, we've seen an intense market shift, and we'll get into that later. But, you know, the CBS era stuff now it's playing catch up with the pre-CBS era stuff as far as value, but it's much more attainable for the average customer or collector.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I agree.
Hello to Larry Mitchell in the chat.
Yes, Larry Mitchell, special guest in the chat. How you doing, Larry? Large headstock guitars. There are quite a few of them in your store, and you even have, I think, a really clean 72 Strat, maybe in blonde or white. I think on the bottom row.
Bottom row. I like that you know. I like that you know where it is.
I know where my guitars are.
I do, and I also have. It's an Olympic white, and I also have a Fire Mist Gold.
Oh, okay, very nice. David Davidson in the chat says, "Do you have a real burst that you can show us?"
Of course, he's in the chat. Hello, David. I do have a real burst that would require me to get up and walk out of frame. So if you're
that's fine.
Yeah, okay. I will go get.
Sure.
I will go get a real burst. No big deal.
All right.
Well, while she's doing that, Dave,
one you can grab the one that I always gravitate to.
I will say how the goalposts are always moving, Dave, because it's like, you know, like CBS, it's got to be pre-CBS. And then they're like, well, you know, it was all the same product for the first 18 months. And then you hear, oh, no, well, 36 months. You know, I get a kick out to all of a sudden it's like, well, it's still a nitro paint. And then, oh, the early poly stuff isn't. Just try it. If you like it, buy it. Enjoy it.
Just play them. Play the guitars, because you know what? There might be a 68 Strat or 68 Telly in there that kills the 61 slab board. You never know.
All right. You guys ready?
All right. Hang on. Let me get you in the frame here. All right.
Here you go, David.
I know. It's my favorite one.
Oh, look at that. Look at that.
It is. That's the one I'm going to own.
Quite literally, like, I don't even deserve to be in the frame with this. It's insane.
That is
right.
Yeah, this is a 59 with flame on top of flame.
And I'm going to say that's faded into a unique, like, I'm like, what is that? You know, because they've got like 1,500 names for bursts, all from one year. And then how many 59s were even made? And apparently there's a name for the burst of every single guitar made by the sounds of it. I don't know. It seems like, but that is like, I'm like, I don't know what that is. Like,
I mean, I guess I would, you know,
I would call it iced tea. I'd call it iced tea. I would
probably go with like iced tea, although in person it reads a little more golden, like a honey almost.
I'm seeing a lot of green for some reason. like especially right around the switch.
Yeah, I kind of see what you're saying. The shadowing up in here.
Yeah, like I don't know, because it could be cameras and stuff like that, but I was like, I don't know. It's like a green tea burst. Like, that's amazing. Because I was like, that's why I'm like, I've never seen anything like that in my life. I don't know what to call that.
Yeah, it's just.
And apparently played by a guy with a belt buckle once.
Yeah, maybe for like a minute.
Yeah, like literally.
like he played it and he said, you know what, I better not.
And that wasn't the guy who even bought it. That was the guy originally at the store, and they went, hey there, Junior Rodeo, put that down. Move on with your belt buckle elsewhere.
Truly. Yeah, this is it's a little
dripping
nutty.
Honey. I like that.
Yeah, that's a good one. I like it. Yeah, this is a nutty piece, and I know, Dave, this is like your go-to.
That's my guitar that I pick up every time I come in.
And there's a reason, because look at it. Yeah. Well,
anyway,
that's cool.
Okay.
So if you want to buy that guitar, just see Paige or David or even Nick at the store, and take a mortgage out. But honestly, it's just.
And if you don't have to take a mortgage out, definitely call them.
It's about 500 payments of $1,000, and you're all right.
Sure.
No, it's the thing is that, and like we say, can I curse on here?
Yeah, you can.
I say it playfully, but we really mean it. There's an ask for every seat, and if it's not this one, and like we have something for everybody. It's just, we know that this stuff can get crazy. Like, we're not dense or shy to the fact that there's not. It gets up there.
Yeah.
And so if it's not this one, then maybe it's the one that had a small thing that happened to it.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, worse. How about worse? Player grade, capital P, capital L, capital A.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely get them. I mean, Dave, that 58 burst that we have. That's like,
I love that guitar too.
Neck is just, it's been loved, and there is a reason.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's like Braille. You know exactly where you are with that 58 burst.
Yeah.
Because the Braille on the back of the neck tells you where you are. Mark Robinson says, why hasn't Bonamassa bought that guitar? And I'll tell you why. I know exactly why, because I asked him. He's got 15. He doesn't want any more.
He's got
15 bursts.
15 is more than enough.
He's not looking to buy any right now.
Yeah. And hello, Dave's mom.
Yes. Hi, Mom. Beverly Cooper Tours. Let's say hello. She wants to say hello. So there you go.
What else do I see? John Conklin is in here. Yeah, it's interesting. You can show somebody a telly that's just beat to death and they just love it, but a Les Paul, people, whoa, condition.
Everybody has standards.
That'd be loved.
That they, whether it's their own that they've created, or if it's something that has manifested a life of its own from forums on the internet. Everybody has an opinion.
I agree.
I mean, listen, at the end of the day, if you pick up a guitar, and I know, Dave, you and I have had this conversation a number of times in the showroom where, a player who really knows what they're looking for, like, they don't even look at the guitar. They pick it up. They feel it. They
strum it. They strum it acoustically. Oh yeah, that rings nicely. All right, I'll take it. That's all it takes, really.
Genuinely. That's really the truth. It's the guys in my experience, and I can't speak to everyone in this, but that pick up every guitar and they take 45 minutes with every guitar because they really don't know exactly what they're looking for. They just want something to speak to them. And sometimes it does, but other times you really need to know what you're looking for. It's kind of half and half.
That's why I'm ignoring Terry's comment from earlier. And he's like, send all your V-neck tellies to Ben. No, don't, because those haunt me. It's just, hello, where have you been my entire life? And then I have to put them back. That's the problem.
I will tell you, and I think you may have seen a photo or two but there is just to the left of Paige is 25 Blackguard Telecasters and X Squires and broadcasters. 25, and they're on the bottom shelf so that anyone can grab them if they want to. Just the custom colors up top. All the custom colors up top. Blackguards on the bottom. Crazy. Now, what I want to talk about, really, a lot of things, but the sheer, and I have, for lack of better words, buying power that you guys have. The fact that you have 10 bursts on the floor to choose from, 25 Blackguards to choose from. You have what, maybe 10 or 15, 54 Stratocasters to choose from. You don't, most stores, you're lucky if you get one of each. You're lucky if there's a burst in the store. You're lucky if there's an early 50s anything in the store.
Sure.
But you guys have guitars to choose from. And that is a major, major plus in selling these guitars, because people can pick what they perceive as the best guitar for them. And that's insane. Now, granted, you give people more choices. It may be not as quick to buy something because they have to think about which one they like better. But in the end, you get a customer that trusts you 100%, because you're not just steering them to the guitar you have. You let them pick the one they want.
Yeah.
And that's insane.
Without a doubt. I mean, that's definitely
Hello,
something.
baby.
It's definitely something that, again, I go back to the concept of like, it's a blessing and a curse. It genuinely is, because I have people that will call having not been here, and I'll mention that, not all of our inventory is on our site. We're in the process of revamping our website. So if you're to go on our website now, you might see maybe 2 or 3 Blackguards. And so someone will call me and they're like, yeah, I'm looking at the 53 Tele. And I'm like, okay, which one? And I know that sounds like truly a little insane. And they're like, well, I only saw one on the site. I'm like, okay, I have 5, so it's one of those things that it can be a little overwhelming at times. I genuinely do believe, like, if anyone out there is like me, where you walk into a store and if you have more than one option, you're panicking, then maybe call, like it can be a lot. So like you said, whether it be a Blackguard or a burst, but there is beauty in that you can pick up and hear the way that the different ones sounded. I know that I have that dark burst with the double whites.
Oh yeah, God, yeah, Bixby, yeah.
Ridiculous. And maybe it wouldn't be the guitar that somebody would automatically reach for, but when they hear it and it's amped up and it literally blows your eyebrows off your face.
Yeah, that's probably one of the best sounding Les Pauls I've ever heard in my life.
It's insanity. And so I feel that, yes, you look at the lineup and you go, well, how am I ever going to choose? But then when you do hear the one, you're like, all right, that makes sense to me.
Well, you know which one it is. Like, listen, I've played every burst you have in the store, including some that people have not seen. And I gravitate, which, there's 2 bursts in your store that if I had the money right now, I would buy over the other ones. And it's the Dark Burst 60 that's sitting on the floor with no flame on it.
Yeah.
And that burst that you just showed us.
Yes.
To me, and my hands and the way I play, I think those 2 guitars are the 2 best Les Pauls I've ever played in my life. And I've played, 15 or 20 of them in your store?
Easily.
Maybe. And they're all fantastic. They're all like, all right, which one? But then you play the 1 or maybe the 2, and you're like, well, okay, there's that. And it's just, it's an amazing feeling. It's an amazing feeling. It's just an amazing feeling to be able to try this stuff and And I mean, and it's not just with vintage guitars. It's with any you go into any music store, and you could buy any guitar. It could be a custom shop. It could be Fender, Gibson, USA. It could be a Squire. Doesn't matter what it is. You play the right one that speaks to you, and that's the one you get. All right, real quick, BV Ninja has a question. I gotta find it. Hang on.
Yeah. Salute, BV. One of me. A late night in Switzerland.
Here we go. This. Salute, Dave, Ben, and Desi, and everyone. Paige, is that iced tea lemon burst? All original electronics. Can I see the string spacing on the neck of the 59, please? We can do our best.
I will do my best. I don't know how great quality that my MacBook camera has for you, but I will do my best.
Let me just get this.
So it is fully original electronics. Inside, it doesn't get more original than this. So I'm going to do my best to show you the string spacing here. And I don't know if this is ample.
Yeah, it's perfect. It's showing great.
Fabulous. Yeah. So, and all of our guitars are set up by, I'm biased, but by the best, by the best in the biz.
Oh yeah, John is amazing. He's amazing.
He's absolutely incredible. He's done every piece in our entire store, which I think speaks to his talent.
There's like 2 or 3 guys on Long Island that if I can't do it myself, that I would go to, and he's definitely in the top 2 of the 3. So I trust him with anything I have. And I will say to anyone who asks questions like of the originality of the instruments in there, David and Paige will not buy a guitar with a story attached to it. It's got to be all original. It may be refretted, and it may have Grovers, but that is as far as they go. If it's got changed electronics, if it's got a broken headstock, if it's a refin, they will not buy it. They will not sell it.
Well, yeah, and I think that's something I'm glad you brought that up, Dave, because we make the analogy often to vintage cars. You're not going to leave the original brakes on it. It's not, you're going to die. So don't do that. If you're
certain parts are consumable.
100%. And if you're somebody who's going to play these instruments, if you want to hang it on the wall and you want to leave the original strings on it, have a ball. Have the best time of your whole life. But if you want to play these instruments and they need to be usable, you're going to need to refret it. And chances are good as more and more time goes on, just like refrets 20 years ago were not acceptable, now they're becoming more acceptable. And so we're going to start to see changes in the way that things are looked at. You know, if a pickup needs to be rewound, maybe right now that's still a little faux pas, but over the course of time, things are going to need to happen to keep these things in usable condition.
Sure.
Right.
And I think that it's, listen, I think that the pure-blooded vintage people out there are never going to, they're just going to say, well, the guitar's done and we're just going to leave it. And that's okay. That's totally okay. But
it's more for the rest of us.
Exactly.
And I was thinking too, like we were mentioning like things like refins or something like that. I'm thinking you have a certain segment of your clientele that are repeat customers. And if like someone like myself is like, I'm looking for this guitar. I don't care if it's a refin. I don't care, blah, blah, blah. This is my price range. Can you find it? Well, of course, because you deal in the industry, you can put feelers out and probably locate something like that fairly quickly, even though it's not your signature thing that you would have in store on the floor necessarily.
Totally. And something that sometimes if we're doing like a trade deal and somebody has 4 out of 5 instruments that are perfect for us, that one piece, it may not be something that we are keeping on our showroom floor, but it's something that we have. And if somebody walks off the street and they say, okay, I have $5,000 to spend, that might be the perfect piece for them.
Exactly.
And I don't poo-poo it. It's just not what I'm known for.
Yeah, that sounds like someone who's wants a vintage guitar that he wants to play it, probably like on stage, etc. And I get it. I get it in many ways. And somebody had asked that like price range in the store, because obviously bursts are going to command a certain dollar.
Yes.
But if you have, say, a vintage student model guitar, like I don't know exactly what the market is for vintage student model guitars, but for years and years, they really never commanded much more than, say, a new American Strat in price type thing.
Yeah. So what you're going to see, there's definitely the spectrum is broad, without a doubt. So you can look at, whether it be a Fender Mustang behind me on the low end of the spectrum between $2,500 and $3,000, or, an SG Junior, which is going to be 5, 6, depending on the condition and originality. But then you'll get into the 54 to 56 Les Paul Juniors and Sunburst, pretty standard pieces that were considered student models then are around 12 now. So even within the student models, you have range, which is, I think, a really good thing. I think that it gives you categories within itself.
Guitar Man 45 says, "Can I buy a guitar there with $10,000 to $20,000?" Very easily, actually. There's quite a few guitars in the $5,500 range to $20,000.
Totally.
Yeah. There's a really great 63 SG Junior that you have that is really, really good. That's about $5,500, and it's right there for the pick, and it's amazing. Great guitar.
I do. Thanks for the super chat, Muddy Waters. He says, "I like to torture myself. Any chance we can see a 58V, my favorite guitar on the planet? And sorry, I don't mean to make Paige run around."
That's okay. You know what? I need to get my steps in before the end of the day. So.
Okay, so my question is, do you want to see a black pickguard or a white pickguard one?
That's the question of the century, Dave. All right.
Muddy, tell us if you want to see a black pickguard or a white pickguard.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's figure out what he wants to see first.
And it's interesting you were talking about refretting too, because my buddy Aaron likes to point out when we were at Carter's, and that's when I fell in love with V-neck tellies, because I pulled down a 57 telly that well played, and I just fell in love with it. And he's like, "How can you play that thing? There's no frets left on it." No, it's just broken in now. Because I'm like, no, silver Sharpie is all I need. Like,
it's pre-loved.
Yeah, like no, I was like, no, there's at least 2 more levels left. And he's like, "Are you kidding me?" And no. So that's that's a personal thing for me. So that cuts out like 90% of players like, it needs a refret. I'm like, no, it doesn't. Thanks.
I'm with you. It's funny. We'll get into, I have my personal fave in the store next to me.
Awesome.
And it's a 57. So it's funny that you say that, because the frets, though they have some life left in them, like you said, someone might look at that and go, "Oh, those gotta go." But I'm like, no, you gotta leave them in
when
there.
it's short like that, they don't dent anymore because you're already pressing the fretboard. So they won't dent. So they're fine. And Larry likes the old V-necks too. Larry Mitchell and I, same wavelength, yeah.
Like Joe Hervey.
Muddy Waters is having a meltdown. He's, "Why are you doing this to me?"
I gotta find Joe Hervey.
I think he peed a little when you asked a black or white card.
Joe Hervey, ask your question one more time, please.
He was asking, do you have to make an appointment, or can you walk into the store?
We are walk-in ready. So we had been during the height of the pandemic, we had been by appointment only, as many places had been. But we are very excited to say that we are open to the public.
Nice.
Yeah, so all you got to do is ring the doorbell. The store is open from Monday through Friday from 12 p.m. to 5 p.m. So they have banker's hours, but they give you 100% of their attention for that time. It's amazing. It's just amazing. You go into that store, you're treated like royalty.
Thank you.
I'm just wondering if there's a doorbell cam, because if they saw me, they're just like, "We have no most rights for you. Go on."
All right, you know what? I'm gonna go because it's not answering the question. I'm gonna go with black pickguard because that's
all right. I got you. We'll be right back. I'm coming back with it.
Okay. This is amazing. I also want to, while Paige is gone, I want to thank everyone for the super chats. I want to thank everyone for especially want to thank Charles Green for taking care of this channel every month.
Yeah.
Charles Green steps up, helps pay for this channel every month, and I just want to say thank you so much. The super chats, they all help. They help this channel survive. We keep going with the money that you guys give us. Mike H2O just gave us another $5. Albert King played a white card, so let's go with that. Insane. Right. I actually have a choice.
So shall we switch?
Well, he said black.
What'd you say, Dave?
How about we show the one in your hand, then we can show the other.
All right. So this one has a black pick guard. It also has some pretty intense green, which I'm pretty excited about. I think it's a little more unique, in my opinion, and I'm partial to it. So.
Oh wow.
Yeah, this is a stunner for sure.
Muddy Waters is having a heart attack.
I'm going to show you the back. Yeah, imagine me right now. Yeah, so I mean, I'm not sure how evident the grain, the depth.
You can see it. It's perfect.
And the dark, it's really unique for a piece of Karina. It's just crazy. It's freaking crazy, guys.
Yeah. That's an amazing guitar.
Muddy says no need to switch. He's happy.
All right. Well, I was happy too, but
we're getting a lot of wows. A lot of wow. Yeah.
Not wow over this, like.
Des wants it.
Something wrong.
Dave, you're selling everything because Des wants this one. So.
Perfect.
Dave is going to bring in his living room. Yep.
Yeah. So this is it's a funny piece to show on camera because it's a little awkward to hold. However, worth it.
Desiree says, "Can I have this guitar?" Yes, Desiree. It's only $500,000.
You can come play it anytime, Desiree.
Nice.
Anthony Roscoe says, "Someone text Joe Bonamassa. He's got three flying V's. I don't think he needs another one.
And
but if he wants one, he knows where to get it." T. Ricky says, "Do they mind if people call and ask some questions? I would like to get a vintage Strat at some point, maybe next year."
Not at all. We encourage it. This industry goes to nothing if people don't care about it. So call me, talk to me. Like the other day, I think I was on the phone for like 45 minutes with some guy about Telecasters who he literally didn't know anything about them. He was just curious. And I was like, let me tell you why you should care. And we talked forever. And it's important. Like I said, I mean, I think my dad has said this a few times, in passing conversation where he uses the phrase, it would just be firewood if nobody cared about it. And it's true.
That's right.
And, let's just, the more we talk about it, the more people care and the further this goes. I want to continue this for a long time. So for sure.
That's awesome. Well, I got to tell you, I want to welcome Dino Smith. Is this maybe the first time you've come here? Welcome. Let's see. Billy Baloney says, I'd slap a Kaler on it. Oh, it's got a heartburn.
No.
Got a heartburn.
He kids. He said it was beautiful right before that. Yeah. But at least the Kaler's less invasive than a Floyd, although I don't know how you would install a Floyd. Good luck. It'd be a very external Floyd.
Floyd Rose would sound better on that guitar than the Kaler would, but I would shoot anyone that would do that.
Yeah. It's all mounted with felt pads, so it doesn't actually hurt the guitar. It's all external. It's some exoskeleton. Yeah. Just for the heart attack victims. Yeah.
Let's say hello to 7/8, my friend Jay Hannon.
What's up, Jay?
44 pairs of eyes watching us at the moment. Those of you who don't know by now, this is Paige Davidson, co-owner of Well Strung Guitars in Farmingdale, New York. One of my favorite people in the world. Her partner, her dad, is one of my other favorite people. I have to put this up here.
I think Dad's been into the scotch, possibly.
You are the best daughter and business partner a person can have. I'm so proud of you and how much you truly know of your craft. And I agree with them. All right, here's another Muddy H2O. Thank you so much again. Thank you, Paige. The time to dig the clear heels and finish out of the closet so I can start.
You know what? Work with what the good Lord gave you.
That's right. That's awesome.
Muddy selling, hoping for V. Well,
I got to tell you, Muddy Waters, thank you so much for all of the super chats. The rest of you can take a hint and throw some super chats their way. No, just kidding. But I will tell you, any super chat that you give helps the channel. It helps us grow. If you're new here to the channel, please subscribe to the channel. Please click that bell and hit always so that you can get subscribed, so you can get our notifications. We don't spam you. We only let you know when we're doing a show. I don't do it that often, maybe once a week. So you don't have to go, God, that NESDALL guy again.
I haven't even taught Dave how to do community posts yet, folks. So don't worry about it. He's not going to spam you.
Yeah. And if you're in Long Island, if you're in the vicinity of New York City and Long Island, you need to visit Well Strung Guitars. I can't stress this enough. It is probably, in fact, I'm not going to say probably, it is hands down the coolest music store, at least in North America.
That is
literally
so kind, and I am not equipped to handle that much kindness. So thank you so much.
Well, nobody has the gear that you guys have. Nobody is as nice as you guys are. And oh geez, like let's get.
We got a super chat training happening, Dave.
House Tang, thank you for the what is it, the Canadian super chat, and what would you call that?
Yeah, that translates to about 43 cents American. No, it doesn't. No, we're about 80 cents on the dollar these days, I think.
Thank you, House of Twang.
T. Ricky.
Thank you, T. Ricky, for the $10 super chat.
Appreciate it, guys.
I love the wolf. The wolf is awesome.
It's just more gas money for Dave to go hang out at the store. I'm just saying.
No, I tell you, and I will say there will be some future videos coming from the store. I believe at some point we will pick up with the guitar of the week. We haven't done it yet. They're very busy, still getting stuff. They just recently moved into the new place. Yes. They're doing a lot of Instagram stuff on their own. But I think in the future there might be some talks of some more guitars of the week.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
If you guys are on Instagram, definitely check it out.
I'm double checking that I'm following right now, actually.
Hey, there we go. No, we do a new guitar every day. We have new videos that go up every Friday at 3, where we go into them. They're called the Guitar Archive, which our amazing media director came up with, which is amazing.
Thomas Santiago, he just said, I wanted to say hello. Great show, David. Thank you. David Davidson, when I see you next, I'm going to kill you. $99, $100 from David Davidson. That's just unheard of. Thank you so much. I'm going to get lunch for the
I was going to say, NESDALL's buying lunch.
When I come in the next, make sure you let me get lunch for you guys.
All right. I am now.
Money H2O, another $5. I think that is a total of $20 for money. Do they have coffee? Do they have coffee and ventilators available if we visit the store? I think they have coffee. They definitely have coffee.
Definitely have coffee.
I think you might be able to get Nick to give you mouth to mouth.
I think we might have to get consent, but probably.
He's going to kill me for that.
Loaded White Bailey, Sean Zimmerman, Rob 212. Bunch of folks joining in. Okay. Do they have T-shirts? Larry Mitchell asks.
We sure do. So if you
I
come
need to
to
get
the
one.
store, we have we have we have like a giveaway shirt, but we're currently in the process of working on a couple of shirts that we will be selling as well. Cooler designs.
I will be
Jeff
in touch
K-
about getting a shirt because
Yeah, me too. Jeff K says, "Hi, Paige. Great show, David and Ben. Does Well Strung have a YouTube channel?"
Hey, so Jeff, we do have a YouTube channel. However, we found that our audience is a bit more broad over on Instagram for reels and longer video content on there as well. YouTube is great, but what we like is a little bit more of an authentic, live, less produced feeling video. And so we found that that works better for us on Instagram.
You might want to, you don't get less produced than Dave and me. I'm just saying. So, if there's a way to download your reel and then you just upload the same thing later on the YouTube, because reels disappear if I'm not mistaken, do they not?
No, that's a story. So a reel actually will stay. That's a permanent fixture. They created it essentially to compete with TikTok. So
Gotcha. Okay. See, I learned something every show. I said I would learn something.
There you go.
Thought it would be guitar related. Apparently not. But that's okay.
So Van Fo, aka my great buddy Nick Amendolara, who works at that store, and he does an amazing job. And congratulations on selling that Mustang today. Says, "I heard that, Dave. Ha ha." I'm sure we're going to get a bunch for that as well.
Hey,
but that's okay. I love Nick. Nick has a very special place in my heart. Bozique, thank you for the $10. He says there's a YouTuber out there who shall remain anonymous who says that 70s Gibsons and Fenders suck and people only like them because they can't afford the good stuff from the 50s and 60s. What's your opinion?
I might catch some flack for this, but I think that that's somewhat of an elitist opinion. I think that there is truly something to be said for the quality of the construction and the workmanship that was put into the earlier pieces that doesn't compare. It definitely, I would be lying if I said that they were of equal workmanship. But with that being said, I have picked up plenty of 70s instruments that are fantastic and have outplayed some of my earlier pieces. So I think that goes back to our earlier conversation of you really have to try it all and see what suits you. I mean, a guitar is so personal and it's an extension off of yourself if you're a player, and if you're a collector who's hanging it on your wall, I don't know if it matters anyway. So
yeah, I agree. I learned a long time ago, especially when it came to CBS Fender stuff of the 70s, it was hit and miss. So literally, like my old bass player Larry would tell me, because he was around, he'd been playing since the 70s, and he's like, literally, like half of it was garbage, half of it was just as good as the 50s and 60s.
Totally.
Stuff. But it was literally, you had to play it, and he said it was hit and miss. So he goes, half of it's good, and the other half can use for parts to fix the other half.
Without a doubt. Without a doubt.
Yeah. And I went, okay, well, that's a great rule of thumb. So yeah, play it.
Just want to say hello to, listen, everyone in the chat here, I consider you all friends, but the chat is a personal friend. Like, we talk all the time. He says, where are all the Floyd Roses? And Chad,
at your place.
They're all in your house. All of them. Everyone.
You got them all. You bought them all.
Chad is a great guitar player. He's got a very cool, very large collection of guitars.
Oh,
and none of them have standard tremolos on them.
Alumni of the channel too.
That's
Yes.
awesome.
I had something I wanted to ask you, and we've been.
I was gonna say shoot, but it sounds like it's be gone.
It's gone. I will show something that I did buy in your store that I love very much. One of my main guitars, and let me show this real quick. I've shown it before, but this beautiful, and yes, it is a custom shop guitar, because every once in a while, like Paige said before, if they had to do a deal with someone and they don't quite have all the cash, but they have a couple real cool custom shop guitars, they will entertain the idea of taking them in its trade. This is
something like that isn't that hard to move.
This is
overall.
a 2010 57 reissue custom shop with Black Les Paul. And it is amazing. And I will not drop this one on I will not drop it because lightning does not strike twice.
Ain't that the truth, Dave?
So
don't be juggling Les Pauls. Don't be
holding
juggling.
on to this with dear life. Those of you who missed it, who want to check out my Facebook channel,
Or just watch last week's show.
Just watch last week's show, or you can go to my homepage on Facebook and watch a slow-mo 30-second reel of me dropping a Sunburst Les Paul Custom Shop 60 and not break the headstock. It is one of the funniest things on YouTube. And like I said, lightning doesn't strike twice. I'm not going to drop another guitar.
Been doing YouTube for 4 years, and I've never had anything like that happen, and that was something. And I'm glad you cropped me out of the slow-mo, Dave, because I was just I felt so helpless.
He left it in.
It's so funny. It was not funny when it was happening.
I started laughing out of complete fear, the same as if David got his foot run over by a bus. I would have laughed the same amount because I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Just full anxiety laughter.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So let's take a look at the guitar that you said is your favorite.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Let me place this V down before I have a mild
Please
heart
do.
attack, please, and then I will bring that right into frame.
Bozique says next time drop a cheap Squire Epiphone. You won't see any of those in my house.
The Chad says he has a great still of me from last week. Great.
That's awesome.
Right. So my personal favorite in the store, and I know I tend to get that question a lot when people come in, is what's your favorite piece in the store? They want to see it immediately. And I'm always like, it's not going to be the same as your favorite piece, but okay. I have a 1957 Strat here, which has been loved.
Yeah.
It's been loved. It has a really gorgeous soft V neck profile. And this color is a early Pontiac color. So it's actually a Pontiac color off of their 51 color chart. That I believe to be sapphire poly. I compared it next to their other colors on their color chart. And I think I showed you guys before my like nerdy little color chart that I carry around with me. But
I would think that's a very rare color on a Strat.
So it's pre-custom color chart. So it's before there was any standardized colors. And what's really incredible about this piece is that we have we call it like its sister guitar, which is a 1957 Esquire finished in the exact same finish.
Wow.
They're the only two that we know of. And it's just this, I mean, I don't know. I hope that the color is translating because I think in my camera, it looks somewhat Lake Placid, but it's very much not.
I'm seeing a bit of like more of a pewter than anything else, but it could be also faded over.
Yeah, it's definitely like a teal color.
Okay. Yeah, like a pewter teal, like it's just, or a sedate teal, if that makes sense.
I mean, I don't know if you can see behind me, which way? That's a Lake Placid Blue Electric 12. So it's a richer color. Lake Placid Blue. This is definitely, it's a metallic, but it doesn't have that depth in the same way.
The fretboard, it almost looks roasted at this point. It's so dark.
It has been loved, and for good reason. Let me tell you, when I picked it, and it's very resonant. It's just, when I come in the mornings and no one is here, this is where you'll find me, is in this chair with this guitar.
I can understand that.
Yeah.
I can definitely understand that. You have a Strat there that I fell in love with last week. You have a 59 hardtail rosewood fretboard that is maybe 5 pounds, and the neck is so small. and so comfortable. It's crazy. It's like ridiculous for a Strat.
And it's
one of the best ones I ever played.
That's a really, really cool piece in general. It's unique for a number of reasons. You'll get it.
Okay.
Muddy Wire says, "Oh, good, a 57 Strat, my second favorite guitar on the planet. I'm not going to survive through this entire show, am I?"
Type us an SOS if you need help, sir.
Oxygen, you know.
We're good.
Maybe sip on a cold snack to keep the nerves calm.
Yeah. Keep the sugar up. Keep that sugar up. Get yourself a cookie.
Yep.
Yeah, no, that 59 though, Dave, that's really something special. So that's kind of like a transitional era piece. So it's a slab board, so it's on the earlier end of a slab board, and then it also has a 3-ply green pick guard that only has 8 screws as opposed to the later 11. It's a really well, first of all, I just love a hardtail personally, but I think that in general, just finding something that early and with those transitional era pieces, I like funky little things like that. You know, even in between that 64, 65 pre-CBS, CBS transition era, like anything like that, it just draws my attention. I think it on a historical level, it's more intriguing. That's my personal feeling on it, but yeah, that was so light. I almost cried when I picked it up.
We had a question in the chat, Dave. How common was car paint used on guitars? And I'll say very common.
Almost exclusively for a long time.
Yep. I still get my paint from Napa. Why change? If I'm refitting a guitar, I go to Napa and have them mix up something for me.
No doubt.
Yeah, you know, it's too bad that DuPont doesn't still make paint. That would be
kinda. It's now another company. It's DuPont under another company name, Exalta, I think.
I'm not sure.
That's new for me. I don't know.
I know this stuff usually, but
wait, I don't know something.
That's where the NASCAR side of things is coming out, Dave.
Oh, there you go. See, that's why.
Speaking of which, Nita Strauss played the national anthem at this week's race.
Oh, how cool!
It was very cool.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's great. On her Ibanez.
On her Ibanez. Yes.
Hang on a second. Desiree says, please tell Paige that this has been a great show and she's been a great guest. Well, of course. But you know what? You should have given me a super chat for that, Des.
Oh, she'll give you your super chat. But that's off air, Dave.
Later.
Here's a little something for the channel.
Yeah.
Anyways,
I'll get knocked out for that later.
You will, yeah. And I like the fact I was just thinking to myself, we're talking about hardtail Strats. How rare is it on YouTube that there's 3 people on a panel and we all love hardtail Strats? Because that's one of my unicorns that's on my bucket list of having is a hardtail Strat.
They just intrinsically sound better because
I just blame Ronnie Wood. He lives by his for decades. So I was like, there's got to be something to it.
Yeah.
Truly.
Yeah. Love it. You also
I knew we were kindred spirits in some way. So
I believe you have a 55 there too as well. You have a 55 hardtail there as well, I think.
Yeah, yes. I don't know where, but yes. Yeah, it's right next to it, and I'm losing my mind. But yes.
Des. There she is. $10. God, I'm gonna have to PayPal you that back, sweetheart.
Dave's buying 2 lunches now.
Oh, well.
They do sound snappier, Muddy Waters. You're right.
Looks like I'm doing the dishes and the laundry this week. Anyway.
There you go.
But, man, this has been great. We have a little bit longer to go. Do you have time to stick with us, or do you need to go?
No, I'm here. Hanging out.
You're good. Okay. So let's Bra the Sound Guy, no, they do not carry EVH branded guitars with a maple neck.
Give it 4 decades or so.
Yeah, a little bit of time.
Yeah. Sorry. I don't know if there's anything EVH in that store, to tell you the truth. But
not at the moment, no.
No. But you never know.
You never know with a trade. Something might come in
Oh no, I mean Eddie Van Halen did have a lot of vintage guitars when he was alive. You never know where they may go.
Sure did.
Let's see, what other questions do we have in the chat?
Oh, I did see one with the way the market's been as far as vintage guitars and guitars in general over the last 2 years.
Yeah.
As someone who's in the industry, do you see trends continuing the same way? What do you see happening over, let's say, the next 3 to 5 years?
Yeah, so we actually not too long ago had done a video on our page discussing the market as it stands and kind of where we see it going. And, you know, something that I like to kind of refer back to is, you know, before the recession in 2008, we were seeing this boom with the vintage guitar market even then, and how it was on such a steady and consistent incline. And I think had that not happened, where we saw that dip in our infograph, so, you know, that we probably would have surpassed where we are now, quite honestly. Again, I like to say I am by no means a financial advisor, and I have no crystal ball, and, you know, but I can only go by what I see. And, you know, at the beginning of the pandemic, we started to see this crazy interest again. And it spiked. I mean, more than I ever anticipated. So where I see the market going in the next 3 to 5 years, where I hope that we see nothing on a global level that impacts us in the way that we were impacted back in 2008. I have no reason to believe that we will not continue to rise, because as time goes on, there's less of these pieces that are of the same quality and the same originality that we're working with, you know? And so it's only going to make the really original and the really clean that much more desirable, which in turn make them much more expensive.
It's like real estate. They're not making any more vintage guitars.
Yeah, truly. I mean, you know, once you run out of them, they're gone. So it's
but like say, unlike real estate, where they're not making any more of it, but vintage guitars, like say, you can get a scratch on a perfect guitar, and then that's one less in the world. That's all it takes.
Yeah, it's definitely something that we talk about regularly, and I think that we're open about that as a company in a way that a lot of people aren't, and I think it makes some people a little uncomfortable, honestly, because talking about money is uncomfortable. Let's just call it what it is. It's not fun to talk about, you know, could I, should I, would I, you know, kind of thing with your financials. And, you know, I think a lot of people have started to view these as an investment, which, listen, I don't have a crystal ball. I would love to tell you that this is the best investment you're ever going to make. And in a lot of ways it is, because we see that it continues to grow. And even when it does take a hit, it comes back even stronger.
Yeah, I think it's even better than property. You know, it's better than real estate. Tell you the truth.
You it in your house. You don't have to.
That's right. You can fit it in your closet or under your bed. And in 10 years, when you want to sell it, chances are it's going to be at least 5 times more the money it is now. Got 2 great questions to ask you. Do you guys sell high-end amps to go with the guitars?
We sure do. I am currently sitting next to a 68 Princeton, and on my right, what do we have over here? See, I told you guys I have my color charts like a and on my left, on my right, excuse me, I have a 58 Vibrolux, and that's 2 of 10 in my line of vision. So yes, we definitely do work with amps, although amps are harder because they're difficult to ship, a lot more risk involved. Just one of those things.
Understood. Now,
there's your finicky audience, Dave, because, you know, like, where do you draw the line on that? You know, it's okay to replace tubes, but then it's like, what about capacitors? They go bad. Is it okay to replace capacitors? You know?
Well, I tell you, there is an amp there that I am interested in that I've been asking about for a week or so. There's a Tweed Deluxe with a change speaker and some changed parts on the inside that I'm definitely interested in. The amp that you plugged me into last week.
Yes.
and my buddy Brian.
Yep.
That amp sounded so amazing that it's been on my mind all week.
That's a great amp.
Yeah, it sounds amazing. And it's not 100% original, but it doesn't need to be because it just sounds amazing.
I had a guy come in from a store in the city actually not too long ago, and he plugged in that double whites burst that we were talking about earlier into my 58 Bassman, which was an interesting choice, but go for it. And it was, when I tell you, I said the phrase, my eyebrows almost flew off my face, and I was like, oh.
It was like a jet plane. It was like a jet plane passing in front of you.
Nuts. And now it's all I think about is like, I should just plug it into that basement real quick.
Yeah. The other question is there a website, a reverb store, an Instagram for Well-Strung Guitars? And he'll keep posting it. This is one of our mods here.
Yeah, he's been posting links to all the socials in the chat here.
Thank you.
All right. I guess I'm a little behind. I'm sorry.
Yeah, he's there is there. He misspelled the second there, but that's okay. Yeah, they are. Yeah, wellstrungguitars.com, reverb. He put in the Canadian reverb.com/ca because he's Canadian. Shop Well-Strung Guitars and Instagram /Well-Strung Guitars. Yes. Awesome. Thank you, Terry.
There it is right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like our reverb page, we post a few things here and there, but we definitely rely more heavily on our personal website and on our Instagram. And for us, Instagram tends to be the place because of how, it's very point and shoot, super quick to get content out there. Whereas the website takes a longer time. You're writing a description, you're photographing it in a professional manner. It's a very different experience.
Sure.
And I've found that honestly, Instagram is a huge tool for us. We can quickly do a little video or take a few photos of something on our phones, and within 3-4 hours, the guitar is sold, as opposed to it would take me 3-4 hours to get the listing up on the website. So, it's definitely our first line of action. So if anybody's interested, check out our Instagram for sure.
That's the Instagram world. You can just like open up a case, snap a photo, and go, here it is, sweaty, just came in. Someone's going to say, put it aside, I'll be there in 45 minutes. Type thing.
So someone earlier asked to see an Esquire. Do you have one near you that you could show? I'm sorry. I don't remember who asked, but someone asked for it.
That's okay.
Another one on my list.
I do. I have a Telly next to me, but let me grab an Esquire. Let me figure out. I have a good one. Give me a second.
Okay, very good.
I think you might even be able to see it. Give me a second.
Geez, Dave, if we show an ES 175, we just hit the trifecta of guitars I want tonight.
There is a beautiful 175 there with two beautiful gold PAFs somewhere up in the Gibson area on the other side. Yes.
Oh. And I was expecting a blonde, but this is a very pleasant surprise.
This is, well, I think that's why I chose it, because
I think so too.
You're on your toes.
That just made my night. My favorite burst.
This here is a 55 Esquire in Sunburst.
Mm-hmm.
It has actually a fairly standard Telly neck. As far as it's a little early to start seeing any V. Maybe a little bit up in that first fret, but that's about it. Man, I mean, it doesn't really get better than this as far as
still has the ashtray, which is nice.
Yeah, I mean, that ain't coming off right now, and I'm not going to force it. So
we have a caller coming in. So hang on a second.
Which is amazing because we don't do call-ins.
Hello, state your name and your purpose.
It's me, and I'm multi-purposeful. I just wanted to let you know I'm having computer issues as usual, but tell Paige that I'm loving the conversation.
You're turn your computer lower.
Turn my computer down. Okay. Let's see.
There we go.
Go ahead, speak. Speak, my friend.
Just enjoying the show so much. I try to, but then I can't. I'm just going.
I know that voice anywhere.
Great job. Great interview. And trust this girl. She knows what she's saying.
You are too kind, my friend. You are always the kindest, so thank you.
My pleasure. Look forward to seeing you at the store.
Anytime.
All right, buddy. We'll talk to you later, okay? That's my friend Len Camp.
Ben, have a great night, guys.
All right, take care, Len.
See y'all.
Bye-bye.
Let me tell you, that voice, right away, I was like, I know who that is.
That reminds me, anybody who does have my phone number, if you want to call in and ask questions live, we haven't done it before, but we're more than welcome to do that.
Like I'm on, some hit radio station back in the day.
Hey.
I'm always behind the times.
That's
But
what's
yes,
Retro.
if you have the number, I'm not going to give my number out on social media, but if you already have my number, please call.
All right.
Yeah,
now, I'll quickly answer an off-topic question. Brad the Sign Guy asks, off-topic, Ben, do Canadians call it Canadian bacon? No. Today is Canadian Bacon Day in America. Okay. A lot of times what you see as Canadian bacon, we refer to as ham or female bacon. We eat strips of bacon just like Americans do. Now, I've noticed the British, this is where I blame them, Dave, because I watch some British YouTube channels that do competitive eating for some reason, because I'm skinny and I watch them eat it. They claim bacon. I'm like, that looks awful ham-like. I think that's where it came from. And somehow we got thrown under the bus for marketing reasons. So when you see Canadian bacon in your grocery store, no, it's not.
That's funny.
I knew it. Yeah,
Very
or
funny.
female bacon, yes. Yes. Anyways, there we go.
All right, so Paige, we do a little segment every show called the Lust List. Now, is there anything that you personally want to get in the near future or in the future that you're lusting for? Is there any type of instrument, pedal, amp, whatever it may be? Is there anything that you're lusting for? A new pair of high heels, whatever it could be. Just anything,
What's mine, Dave? I'm lusting for a new pair of high heels.
Well, I can't remember who said it earlier, but apparently they have a clear bottom set for you.
Yeah, Muddy Waters. I'm going to borrow those.
He's got the shape.
He can keep the fishnet. I don't need the fishnet.
Yeah, I'm more like an apple. If you put Ben and myself together, we're like 01 or 10.
Hey, I weighed myself today, Dave. I broke 160.
Oh, wow. You're getting fat.
I know.
That's awesome.
All right. What's my
What's up,
wish
Charles?
list? Let's think. That's a tough one because it's, I think that I come in here every day, right? And I get to sample. It's like working in like a Carvel, you get to try a little bit of everything. And so it makes having a wish list, it's like, well, I don't have to choose. I get to have a little bit of everything. However, I will say by nature, I've always been a Fender lover. Whether it's from their history, I find it fascinating. I think that the way that they changed on a cultural level, it's just astonishing to me. Their entire company, their branding, everything. But I would love to eventually graduate into a vintage Stratocaster. I have a newer Stratocaster that belongs to me. I've had it since I'm a teenager, that I love, and it's, an old reliable, but getting into, listen, if I could get my hands on a 57, like a small, like a V-neck Strat, forget it. Truly, forget it. If I could
Beautiful blue color. Beautiful blue color.
Although the color on that is incredible, it's definitely not what drew me to it. The neck profile and the resonance on that guitar is what got me. I think, Dave, you and I had discussed this once before. There had been a 62 Olympic white Strat that had gold hardware and tortoise shell pickguard on it. Mm-hmm. And before this piece walked into the store, this 57, that guitar, tears were shed the day that someone purchased that guitar. It was so sad for me. That was my go-to, and I had the privilege of having it twice in my store in the short window of time that we've been here. And let me tell you, if it ever finds its way back, it might just have to come home with me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 3 times the charm.
That sounds sweet. Yeah, I was like Olympic white with it, and then the gold. I was like, okay, and then tortoiseshell. I'm like,
and it was perfectly worn, and it had like a. I'm not certain to call it a desert sand undercoat, but something in that nature. I think people use the phrase desert sand really willy-nilly nowadays. But
everything that's white is desert sand. Yeah.
Yeah, like a light tan color was underneath. And so we refer to it as desert sand, but
now my friend Peter K, I'm not sure. This is probably a little bit of a razz, but I'm gonna give you his question anyway.
All right.
Do you sell any metal style guitars?
Well, I guess what in your
yes,
opinion?
yes, we do, Paige. Lots of them because growing up in the 80s, Dave, you'd read the interviews with the guys that were endorsed by, say, Kramer, but they had their 59 in the studio with them when they're recording their albums.
Yes, I know.
That's a fact.
Eddie Van Halen had quite a few late 50s Les Pauls,
totally.
including a couple bursts and a couple of juniors. Well, you guys have some Flying V's in the store. You have some Firebirds, and you have or had an Explorer. So those are metal style guitars because they're different shapes. I'm sorry?
I said you may have to just stay tuned on that one.
Yeah. Yes.
I was going to say, yeah, James Hetfield seemed to make quite a career for himself playing a Gibson Explorer for a number of years before he ever had an endorsement with other companies. So, yep.
I mean, listen, I have a good customer of mine who is in a metal band, and his go-to guitar in his studio is a Telecaster.
Yes.
We
preach that all the time.
It's very much you are going to make music you want to make with the guitars that you have in front of you, because why not? And you're going to make it sound good. If you're a good player, it's going to sound good. So
yeah, absolutely. I have to put this on here because it's my mom, but she says some really nice things. I do agree with Lenny. Great show. Paige is such an amazing guest. Enjoying the show immensely. Thank you guys for a super evening.
You are so sweet. Thank you so much.
And judging by your mom's photo there, Dave, she appears to be quite the Van Halen fan too. She's got a Wolfgang and a Star guitar in her photo.
Well, that was the old photo on this in front of this wall behind me. I didn't have time to change over to my Les Pauls and my Gibsons and my Fenders because I'm lazy. I left my Kramers and stuff and such on my wall, but I
think it's cute.
Right now, I'm humidifying these guitars, so I'm keeping them off the wall and near my humidifier. So,
good idea. Good idea. Yeah. It's all we're on the stretch run for that. We're almost out of fret sprout season.
Oh yeah, yes. Bosik says Tellies suck. We know you don't like Telecasters. I show a Telecaster. In fact, I have one right here.
But Bosik doing that, Dave. It's like Joe Flaherty and Happy Gilmore. Like you suck, and then he's gone again.
Or Tellies now.
Okay.
Yeah, let's talk Telecaster. Let's talk 5
pounds.
5 pounds here. There you go.
Hey.
Oh, look, a couple of blondes and an Olympic white.
Yeah.
2 blondes and an Olympic white walk into a bar.
2 of the 3 are vintage. 2 of the 3 are vintage. Can you tell which ones they are?
I'll give you a guess. Now, this Olympic white is a 61.
Let's take a look at that. Let's take a closer look at that.
Yeah, this is where it's at. Look at the grain in that fingerboard. I don't know if it's evident.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
It's nutty.
I'm loving those dot inlays too.
The whole thing is like, it's well.
Are those clay inlays in that?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah, they're just clean.
Yeah, I love it.
This is where it's at. It's clean. I mean, and for being like a fairly well-loved instrument, it's got the original frets. It's fully original inside and out. I mean, Doesn't really get much better than that, I don't think. Yeah, this is
Bozique's LOLing, and he's like, "This show just went south."
Well, not everyone can love Telecasters, but
It's more for the rest of us, Dave.
These guitars were made in 1950, and Leo Fender got it right the first time. The very first time, the very first shot,
true.
it was done right. You can always say, yeah, the Gibson Les Paul came out in 52, but it wasn't made right until 1957. This beats it.
Yep. And what I was saying about hit and miss during the CBS years, look at that lower horn versus the pickguard. Doesn't quite line up, but man, I got a lot of room in there as a result.
Oh, yeah.
And that's character.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Great stuff.
That's the one thing I think there's a misconception, and I know Dave and I have talked about this a number of times, that, it was a freaking factory, guys. Like, they were churning stuff out. They were trying to meet quotas. This wasn't and not everything was perfect, and not everything was identical. And there was sometimes that when you open a guitar, it looks slightly different, but there's a distinction between something that's original and something that's not.
Hey, Rob.
My friend Rob Cunningham, he says, "Hey guys and Paige, I really need to get into that store. Amazing guitars." Our friend Rob works for Planet Waves D'Addario.
Oh, so, nice. You're Rob.
Yeah.
And I've known him for over 30 years. He started in Sam Ash as a sales guy.
Mark Robinson says Leo Fender did everything right. No, he reversed tremolo and vibrato. Had he swapped those, pretty much then I'll give him across the board.
Yeah, absolutely.
That in its neck adjustment. Keep it once you've discovered it down there. Don't put it back here, Fender. You discovered that. Don't. We don't need to take our necks off to make a truss rod adjustment, especially living in Canada or the Northeast, where we have 4 seasons.
Yeah, we have 4 seasons here too. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, it's the Northeast. Charlie S says, "I've been a Les Paul Strat player all my life until I got a 61 reissue Telecaster, and now it's my go-to guitar 99% of the time." I understand that. Listen, I wasn't always
for everything.
I wasn't always a Tele player either. I was most of my life a Strat player. Most of my gigging career was on a Stratocaster of some sort. Then I became into Les Pauls. I really love Les Pauls, and I didn't turn back. And recently, although I've always had Telecasters, I was never a huge fan of them because they're hard to play. But in recent years, it has become one of my very favorite guitars to play. These guitars have their own sound. And I used to not be a bridge pickup player either. I used to just hang out on the neck pickup all the time because as a blues player, you play the neck pickup most of the time. But the real charm in these guitars is the bridge pickup. It really is.
Now, I was the opposite, Dave. I always rode the bridge on Teles for that twang, even playing rock and blues. But over the last year, middle position for me. That chiminess of the middle position.
Oh yeah, clean sound. The middle position is great, but with a little grit.
Even with some gain. I don't know. It's a new thing with me. It's got a bubbliness that I just dig. What's up, Cameron Brown?
Cameron Brown is here, one of the best players on the planet.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Why is the Tele hard to play? The chat asks. Well, you got a body that's pretty much the size of an end table, so there's a lot, and we don't have any comfort carves here or in here, and you got a big old bolt-on assembly here that's not contoured, and it's perfect.
Well, why I think it's one of the hardest guitars to play is there's no forgiveness in the guitar.
That too.
You definitely will sound like you. So if you're not a great player and you play with a lot of overdrive and you play, you hide behind distortions and stuff. And I say that I'm included in that. With a Telecaster, it is not as forgiving as a Strat or a humbucker guitar or something, you know, it's just not forgiving. All the mistakes come out with these guitars. So you got to be a damn good player to play one well. Anyone could play one, but to play one really well, you got to be a damn good guitar player. It just is what it is. I don't consider myself a damn good guitar player. I love the sound of a Telecaster. I do what I can do, but and when you play a Telecaster, it makes you want to practice more. It just
That's
does.
true.
We're at the 9:30 mark, and I think we're going to end it here. I want to thank Paige and Well Strung Guitars immensely for joining us tonight.
Truly my pleasure. This has been such a good time chatting with you guys, and I'm happy to come back on anytime.
Awesome, because I was going to ask if you would be up for a part 2 at some point, because this was been a bunch of fun.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. I'd like to slate David on as well at some point as well, but absolutely, I want to have a part 2. We have so much more to discuss, it was a pleasure having you on here. I look forward to seeing you next week. Thank you for showing us all the great guitars. Thank you for all the information. The information you gave us, I learned a lot of stuff tonight. I'm sure everyone else here has. I want to thank everyone in the chat for showing up. I want to give special thanks to everyone that contributed with super chats.
Yes,
thank you so much, everybody. We will see you next Thursday night. Next Thursday night will be a Van Halen night. We have Chris Locke and Donnie Ward on again. They'll be showing some cool stuff. They have some additions to that new 5150 body and neck that they have. They also have a 1984 neck headstock and a Hot for Teacher guitar headstock that I think they will be able to show us. So check that out, 8 p.m. next Thursday night.
Yeah,
and
so what that means is, for you Wiggle Stick fans that were upset with the hardtail talk tonight, you get your Wiggle Stick on next week is what we're saying.
Yeah. So Paige, stick around. We'll say goodbye off air. And good night, everyone. We'll see you next week.
Bye.